Greetings, schools. I'm your host, Spooky Creepy J, and today we are going to be looking at something a little less spooky or creepy than usual. We are revisiting one of the best TV series of all time, The Golden Girls. So today we're marveling over episode 5 of the second season, which originally aired November 8th, 1986. This was the midst of the Reagan era, and the AIDS pandemic was at its peak. And AIDS hit an overwhelming amount of gay men, and the news often covered it as gay cancer in its early days. So with that in mind, this episode introduces us to Dorothy's openly gay friend from childhood, which was something that could have went either way. However, the show handled the topic in a fairly progressive way for its time, so let's take a look. The episode starts off with Sophia watching one of those Steven Spielberger movies, as she puts it, which is soon revealed to be a porno. Blanche and Rose walk in from shopping and are obviously astonished. Rose is reminded of her Uncle Ricky's rabbit farm, while Blanche states that she's done that position before. So Dorothy tells her roommates that her friend Jean is coming to visit, and that she's on her way from the airport. Jean's partner recently died, so Rose wants to cheer her up. She decides to make her famous ice cream clown sundaes. So Dorothy talks with Sophia and expresses her concern. She doesn't know whether the girls will get along with her friend Jean if they knew she was a lesbian. Sophia admits that she's known about Jean's sexuality since the two of them were in college, and then says this.
Jean is a nice person. She happens to like girls instead of guys. Some people like cats instead of dogs. Frankly, I'd rather live with a lesbian than a cat. Unless the lesbian sheds, that I don't know.
So Jean walks in and greets Sophia and Dorothy. Dorothy expresses her concerns with Jean, and Jean says this.
Dorothy, I'm not embarrassed or ashamed of who I am. Hey, you know your friends better than I do. If you think they're the kind of people who can handle it, I'd prefer to tell them.
Here we are, ice cream clowns with sugar coated hats for everybody.
It'll be our little secret.
Jean meets Rose and then Blanche, who wants to set Jean up with a man to aid her in her grief. The next morning, Blanche brings up men again, and Dorothy tries her best to defuse the situation. Jean mentions that she lived on a farm growing up, triggering Rose to perk up excitedly. Rose shares her immense enthusiasm for dairy farms with Jean and the girls. Having had such a rousing conversation, the two decide to go to an early matinee together. The next day, a storm blows through Miami, and Dorothy and Blanche discuss how well Rose and Jean have been getting along. Blanche assumes that Jean is seeing a married man. Just when Rose and Jean walk in, Rose's eyes filled with tears. They watch the Crimea River matinee at the Rialto. Jean asks to speak to Dorothy privately, and Jean tells Dorothy that it is time for her to go home. When Dorothy asks why, Jean admits that she's fallen in love with Rose.
I haven't met anyone as good and decent as Rose since Pat died. And I think I'm falling in love.
That night, Dorothy and Sophia are lying in bed when restless daughter Dorothy asks her mom a question. How would you react if you were told one of your kids were gay? And Sophia gave this heartwarming answer.
If one of my kids was gay, I wouldn't love him one bit less. I would wish him all the happiness in the world.
It's because you're the greatest mother in the world, and I love you.
Fine. Now keep your fat mouth shut so I can get some sleep.
Then, Dorothy finally spills the tea.
Jean thinks she's in love with Rose. Ah, come on, it's not funny.
The hell it's not. Jean in love with little Miss Muffet. Come on!
Blanche hears the ladies laughing and decides to see what's up. Since the spirit of tea sipping was in the air, Sophia outs Jean as a lesbian, which Blanche gets confused with Lebanese. Blanche is shocked, being the sheltered Southern belle that she is, and soon becomes shocked and appalled that Jean has the hots for Rose instead of her.
To think Jean would prefer Rose over me? That's ridiculous!
Please!
Now you tell me the truth. If you had to pick between me and Rose, who would you pick?
Blanche, pull yourself together.
Oh, sorry.
The next evening, Rose and Jean stay up late playing cards and reminiscing about life as a young girl. Before they know it, it's 2 a.m., which is far too late to wake up Dorothy. They decide it's best if Jean stays in Rose's room for the night, making things expectedly awkward for Jean. Restless, Jean wakes up Rose to tell her how fond she is of her. Rose feels uncomfortable and pretends she's asleep with a fake snore. The next morning, everyone is looking for Jean.
Listen, Blanche, I do not believe for one moment that anything other than gin rummy happened between Rose and Jean last night.
Dorothy, something terrible happened.
Oh, God!
You idiot! If somebody told you to jump off a bridge, would you do it?
Rose sits down Dorothy to talk about her encounter last night, when Dorothy surprises her by admitting that she already knew about Jean. Soon after, Jean walks in with her suitcase. She tells the ladies that it's best if she goes home now. Rose decides to speak to Jean alone. Jean explains herself. The two reach an understanding, and the gang can't help but to listen in on the conversation. And that's the episode. What a wacky fun time we had. It's no wonder this episode won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Directing in a Comedy Series. I love this episode for many reasons, whether it's because Sophia rented dirty movies and ate popcorn while watching them on the couch, or the good-hearted nature of the girls when dealing with something unnecessarily taboo such as homosexuality. Like I mentioned in the beginning, times were more socially conservative when this aired, and I think the show sent a great message to its viewers, to be more accepting of one another, no matter how we were born or who we love.